and I'd like to welcome you to episode 164 of the UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host here. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, great, Rich, man. UnWoke Nation, guys. Glad to be back tonight speaking with you. Man, we really enjoy doing these.
Yeah.
You know, every week.
These are fun, man.
Yeah.
Never run out of content.
Never run out of content, that's for sure. Guys, you know where you can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as reaching us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. And we're just jumping right in with the TSA. Okay.
Big hot topic this last couple weeks.
Yep. So on episode 163, we talked about the cyber attack with Stryker Medical. Okay. Well, and the, everything that was possible, the hack, right, that happened with that. Well, continuing down the line of security holes, like I said, we just came off a cyber attack targeting the U.S. healthcare infrastructure, right?
Right.
That's not a theory. It's not a speculation. Real systems, real impact. Okay. And now, as if this is right on cue, the Department of Homeland Security is dealing with a shutdown.
Yeah.
We're not going
to it came about very quietly, so it really didn't hit, like the last type of shutdown that we had.
And we're not going to get into the politics,
of course,
of it, right? We've been through shutdowns in the past. We know what they are. I don't think we need to rehash
and reported on it, right?
Yeah. So TSA lines are already backing up. Agents are working without pay. And I think it's fair to say the system is starting to feel it. I would say at this point immediately, if you get on X or Twitter or TikTok or any other platform, you're going to see posts about people at various airports who have arrived 4 hours, 6 hours early to get through the lines, right? So this isn't one of these what if conversations, right? This is happening right now.
Right.
Okay. And it raises a pretty uncomfortable question. If the cracks are already showing in the parts we can see, what's happening in the parts we can't?
Yeah. And the most important thing is that when it's going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
It's like, does it take something like this? Because again, like we mentioned, this situation and, Tim and I, we're actually, as we speak here on Woke Nation, we're actually looking at some of the videos that have been posted by people who are at the airport. And I mean, guys, I know outside of the country here, I mean, these lines are unbelievably long, and long is probably an understatement. We're actually looking at one that's from Bush International Airport, where they basically have no TSA agents.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I clearly understand why people are getting there so early for a major problem. It's like, we got to get this back on track.
So here's the part that doesn't get enough attention. We all see the TSA when we go to the airport. Okay. We all feel the inconvenience,
right?
The lines, the delays, the frustrations.
They're taking off the shoes, asking you questions.
Exactly. But that's just the surface. Behind that are the systems that don't come with a visible line to stand in. I mean, think about that. Cybersecurity monitoring, intelligence coordination, border operations, internal communication across agencies.
Right. And we've all heard that that's been problems many a time.
Those systems don't fail all at once. Okay. They slow down.
Right.
Responses take longer. Signals get missed. Coordination gets weaker. And at the same time, you've got thousands of people expected to keep everything running without getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that we're not trying to go political with this and all, but we also feel that we know the people who are actually putting the money forward to make sure that these people are paid should also be people who shouldn't be getting paid either.
Mm-hmm. So we have people not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
There's a level of pressure that's building.
Yeah.
What happens when pressure builds? Morale drops.
Yep. Frustration.
Focus slips.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes become more likely.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. It's not that people don't care. It's because they're human.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this is happening at a moment where threats aren't decreasing. They're stacking up.
Right.
So what we're really looking at isn't just a shutdown. It's a system operating under stress at exactly the wrong time. And let's be honest, I don't think there is ever a right time.
No. But what you're looking at, Tim, is you're looking at the possible threats where that we're having, due to international conflicts that we have going on and stuff. And about, you had mentioned in a previous episode about, like cells, sleeper cells being involved and stuff like that. Some that might even be here in the United States. And so with all this stuff going on with security going on and not having enough agents like that, yeah, it kind of makes a potential powder keg of an issue.
I don't want to get into the history of DHS. We know why DHS came about.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because the focus was on one particular area.
Right.
So we had to develop another layer of bureaucracy,
right,
to try to prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
And that very system that was put in place to help curb
mm-hmm.
Potential issues
mm-hmm.
is under extreme stress. It was just reported in the last day or so that ICE is showing up.
Yeah, so the president has now decided to where potentially, unless it's actually been done by now, but
no, it's on. You can see ICE agents roaming lines.
Yeah, and that's kind of not their job.
No, and it's definitely not their job at the airport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I heard that story, I was kind of like, no, this is a joke, right? It's like,
no,
they should be on the border or taken care of like that. It's like, and now we got them in airports. I mean, me personally, I don't think that looks good, man.
So from a pure, in what Rich is alluding to, from an optics perspective,
absolutely,
it does. It adds a measure of additional anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people are already on edge about ICE. If you've tuned into any of our previous episodes, with what's happened in Minnesota, California, Washington, D.C., I mean,
right,
what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that let's say I've got a flight at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I have to get to the airport 6 hours early.
Mm-hmm. And we were just saw some film that talks about. I mean, we're looking at even 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah,
crazy.
Say it takes 3 hours to get through the TSA line.
3 hours. Oh gosh, just thinking about it, man, just drives me nuts.
And people were going over to the international flights gates to go through those security screenings just to get over to domestic gates. And they shut that down. They're forcing any domestic flight, right? They didn't shut down international flights or passengers, right?
Okay, all right.
But domestic passengers were trying to use the international lines to avoid
Getting around. Wow. So they're
around.
willing almost to leave the country to try to come back. Wow.
Yeah. Right. They go through it and then they, hopefully there's a connecting hallway or something to get them over to the domestic side of the house. Well, like I said, that's been shut down because the TSA and they caught on to that.
Right.
But places like Houston,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're talking about shutting down Houston International Airport.
Wow, that's crazy, man. And for some people that I know or who happen to travel to Texas pretty often for business and all that, that's a horrible thing, to have. And then as much as we're talking about the passengers itself, we also think about, the TSA agents that are actually trying to do the job. And hats off to all you TSA agents out there in UnWoke Nation who are listening right now. We definitely feel you.
Yeah.
But, but just even back on the 14th, I think was the first Saturday, they actually didn't get a paycheck.
No. Yeah, think about this. When everything is functioning the way that it's supposed to, a normal TSA checkpoint, let's say 30, 45 minutes, right? They always tell you to get to the airport 2 hours early.
Right.
Okay. Now you're having to get there 6 hours early. Okay.
I mean, I'm a morning person, man, but dang.
Yeah. And, on the surface, okay, we have to stand in line. But now, what about the back end infrastructure?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, who reports what? ICE agents are not trained on TSA policies and procedures.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I don't know. What do you do? I mean, it's one thing to say, a fight breaks out in the airport. Okay, yeah, that's something they can handle because they've been trained to do that and all. But what do you do where it's like, where you're trying to keep everybody in one particular place or you got to do all these back? I mean, how many officers do you need to be able to do that? And all these major airports from O'Hare to LaGuardia to Love to Jackson and Atlanta. How does all that work?
It's the short, simple answer is it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, let's just be honest about it. And but look at all the attention this is garnering.
Right. Right. It is. And I mean, it's not, that's just what's so strange about this, man. It's like,
so
we're in a 39-day shutdown and it's like, we're hearing about it, but we're not like hearing about it like we did before we reported, in season 3. It's like what's going on?
So if all the focus is here, what are our blind spots?
And that's the scary part that you're bringing up, Tim. Where are we not looking for something that maybe somebody who's a bad actor might be thinking of?
Where were our blind spots in 2001?
Yeah, and that's you have to go there. It's like, in
2001 being
September 11th.
Yes, thank you. September 11th, right?
Yeah. We always think about the initial bombing or where it happened like that, but, they're talking about, this Al-Qaeda where it took 7 years.
Yeah.
Of filming and doing whatever it was, probably people understanding a little bit about structure, architecture, and stuff like that, or to know exactly what they needed to do. Whereas when it came to 2001, and that's why I think, what you're asking is a very important question to figure out. Like, okay, people who wish bad things on the U.S., England, wherever like that. It's like, obviously just because of being, being TSA right there, they're, they could be chomping at the bit right now, kind of going, what things could potentially happen, so that, like you said, those blind spots that we're missing.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and why isn't the government jumping on this? I mean, yes, we can understand the main issue.
Yeah, the politics associated with that.
Yeah,
for sure. But I keep going back to now there's additional pressure on our blind spots. And what happens when the blind spots fail?
Right.
Catastrophe happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope that it doesn't happen.
Absolutely. I mean, we hope for the best, but you're right. But we need to pay attention to that stuff.
I mean, all we can hope for at this point is something happens to alleviate this issue. Right?
Yeah.
And that obviously it falls to our elected officials, but I keep going back to, what about screening processes? What about reporting processes?
Right.
Let's say something happens, emergency response breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
All hell breaks loose.
Identification of maybe somebody that might be a bad person, but we don't have the proper people there to be able to say, hey, this person's on some type of list or whatever.
And we're creating self-inflicting cracks.
I agree with that. I agree. I mean, it's nice seeing these agents and all, they're out there trying to hand water out to the people in the lines and stuff like that. But it's like, man, they've got to do something. They got to do something fast because, this could be a potential problem.
To go 30, you said 36 days?
39 days now.
39 days.
Mm-hmm.
The longest government shutdown, 45 days?
Yes. And I'm just going to verify that just to make sure that we said, so for clarity.
And that's the entire government.
Mm-hmm.
The potential that a partial shutdown happens to I feel confident saying that we deem DHS and we deem travel a critical part.
Mm-hmm. So, correction, guys. So, about 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, about 35 days.
35 days.
Mm-hmm.
And the longest government shutdown was
43.
43.
Mm-hmm.
We are 8 days away from tying.
And you remember how shocked we were when it went that far.
So today is Wednesday, March 25th.
Mm-hmm.
26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th.
The first. April 2nd? No, April 3rd.
April 3rd, we will potentially tie. So next week, we could potentially tie for the longest shutdown.
Right. I mean, something's got to give. And it also better give before, I mean, we're talking about spring break right now. Imagine when it's going to be, summertime.
Well, what's happening in Indianapolis on the 4th through the 6th of April?
Oh. And we're talking about summer, right?
What's going on right now that everybody's got their eyes on?
Final Four.
Yep.
NCAA men's college basketball and women's college basketball championships. Yeah. A lot of families flying in, teams trying to fly in, wherever it might be. Yeah. It's just bad timing.
Well, there's never any good timing.
Well, of course.
You're right. But yes, it's to...
When the entire sports...
when the entire collegiate sports world is,
It's basically flying into one town.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot to be dealing with.
So out of all this, I just keep thinking, that we're hearing national security is the top priority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But priorities aren't what you say.
What you do.
Yeah, they're what you protect.
Right.
And right now, what we're seeing isn't a system being reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system, you could say being tested. I would say being stressed to the max.
I would agree.
Okay.
It's the unknown of it all, man.
So, and that leads into this next point. Again, maybe nothing breaks this time, right? Just like what you said.
Right.
Maybe everything holds together just enough to get through it. But that doesn't mean it's working.
No. And it doesn't mean not only does it not work or that how soon would this happen again?
Yeah. And it just means it hasn't failed yet. Mm-hmm. And the real question is, how many times are we willing to run the same experiment?
Yeah.
Before the outcome isn't something we can ignore.
Yeah. It goes back to what you said, man, about that potential panic and stuff, because we weren't prepared.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm hoping this will come to an end very, very quickly.
Right.
But some tough times, like you said, with 8 days to go.
Yep. UnWoke Nation, we're going to leave it right there for you guys. We'd love to get your feedback on this story. You can reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, a pleasure as always. And remember, guys, stay unwoke.
Have a great night, guys.